into the May Stringer house finally, and we have a special guest today. Oh, hold on. Let me flip the camera. Meet Horacio! We're gonna go hunt ghost tonight in the dock. Lots of exciting things. And of course, you guys know my girl.
What up?
We're really excited, as you can tell. Like, super excited.
Super excited. I got snacks, y'all.
Look at that.
Like,
Snacks. Oh, that baby doll is for one of the ghosts.
Yes. Yeah, so y'all don't be thinking I'm crazy.
Yeah, no. Apparently, one of the ghosts wants to have dolls. So she calls them her babies. So we have dolls for the ghost. But so we don't get haunted or possessed. Although Horacio said he wants to get possessed. So
I'm dying to die.
And she's like, nope. Me, I'm like, I'll watch.
I'm good.
Stay tuned, everybody. We're here, guys.
Because John May came down in 1855 with his wife Marina, and they built the structure in 1856. And that structure was only 4 rooms. It was not until 1880 when Dr. Sheldon Stringer came down, and he was a physician, so he ran his medical practice out of the building. So he added 10 rooms to the 14-room structure. So the first 4 rooms were the parlor, the dining room, and the 2 bedrooms directly above it. But everything that you see on that side of the house and upwards came from Dr. Sheldon Stringer. So the house went through multiple transitions. It went through the Mays, the Saxons, and the Stringers. The Stringer family lived here for the longest amount of time. There were 3 generations of that family that lived here. But they moved out in 1949. So it became a rental home from 1950 until 1974. So that's 24 years that multiple families lived here for short amount of time for various reasons. Either there were too many renovations or restorations that needed to be done, or there was something chasing them all away. So you can kind of imagine a family sitting down at the dinner table. The husbands are drinking their whiskey, maybe smoking their cigars, playing a game of poker. The wives are gossiping to each other. The kids are running around the house playing each other's hair. They were just being kids. We tend to think 100 years ago is a long time, but it really isn't. They had lives just like we do today, just a little bit more simple. They had jobs, they had hard times, they had good times, fun times, romances. They struggled and they succeeded just like we do now. We can't take for granted the people that came before us because they are the reason that we have everything that we have today. We also tend to take for granted, especially those of us that are here all the time, these are not just decorations. Every item that you see belonged to somebody and served a purpose. Some of these items were somebody's very favorite objects in the entire world. From the dishes that they used during dinner time, the dresses that they wore, the baby dolls that the children played with, the lamps that they switched on at nighttime. And even if they didn't belong to the original house, and even if you don't believe in spirits, their memories will always be attached to everything that you see around you. Now, it's also common when it comes to paranormal investigating, because it's not exact science, of course. When we play music from that particular time period, she managed the show and she did a really, really good job. Right after the Civil War was over, I need my flashlight. This man, not this room, okay. This man was named Frank Saxon. He was a Confederate soldier. That was probably Jesse. I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Confederate soldier, and he was the flag bearer for the Hernando County Wildcats. So that meant his job during the war was to keep the Confederate flag safe at all times. He kept it in his jacket pocket, and he made sure nobody touched that flag. Now, he was actually wounded in battle in Perryville, Kentucky, and then captured as a prisoner of war right outside of Atlanta. Now, in those days, during the Civil War, when the war was over, they had no use for their prisoners anymore, so they let them all go. Frank Saxon walked back to Brooksville from Atlanta.
Wow.
It was a long journey. I'm sure he had a number of adventures and stories to tell after that, but he made it back home. Not only did he survive the war and made it back home, he still kept that flag safe the entire time. The original is hanging in the Confederate Museum in West Virginia. Wow, it's amazing. Okay. Yeah, there, over there. And you're gonna go right in that room. Please don't die.
Oh my God.
Where we're standing right here is the master bedroom. We are on the 1880 side of the home. This was the room that Dr. Stringer built for him and his wife. Since he had patients coming in and out of the home, literally underneath us right now, his doctor's office is directly underneath this room. She needed a little sanctuary for herself because she wanted to get away from the general public, especially the family had a guest staying with them. Now, this was a young man who was also a soldier during the war. So this was 1919 that this event occurred. Before he went off to war, he was engaged to be married, like most young men are. He knew, after he was done fighting, he was going to come home. He was going to get married and start a family and be happy for the rest of his days. Wow. So when the war was over, he came back to Florida, and he was staying with the Stringer family as a guest. They allowed him to use this room as his guest room. But he got some very bad news from somebody other than the woman. She had actually married another man while he was off at war. Now, we don't exactly know why this happened, but I have my speculations. Maybe she found somebody that she thought was more suitable for her, but it's also plausible that because the communication back then was not what it is today, it's also a theory that she might have thought he died during the war. And maybe she just moved on her own. But we'll never know. But what we do know is that this completely devastated him. His heart was broken. Imagine going off to war and just having to face all of these traumatic events and thinking that that one person, that one happy thought is going to be there for you. But she wasn't. So this devastated him so much. As the stories go, he went upstairs and he committed suicide by hanging.
Oh my God.
This what took place a little over 100 years ago, and his spirit is still here today. A lot of the volunteers that work here are women, and one of the most common experiences we always feel that there's this one strong male presence, but personalities carry on. He was a soldier, he was a fighter, he was a protector, and he didn't kill himself out of hatred, he killed himself out of love. He just couldn't go on. He loved her so much. So we do feel like there's somebody just wandering around, just watching out for us, because that's what he did. But he does have a little quirk. His nickname is James, and he likes ladies quite a bit, because the most common thing that we get from James is that he likes to pinch ladies' butts.
Oh.
This has happened on a number of occasions. It actually happened to a group of young girls that were here last night. So that was pretty fun. They also think that dolls might be one of the most haunted objects ever. Now that's because child energy is so strong that when they have their favorite toys, it's no longer a toy to them. They invest all of their energy and all of their imagination into their very favorite objects, especially little girls with their dolls. Now we have one in the corner who is very, very special. This cradle itself is over 125 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Sister, best friend. Imagine how many secrets her and any of these other baby dolls have heard over the course of their lifetime. Now, if you guys are feeling a little bit adventurous, underneath the bed, when the tour is over, you guys will have until 10 o'clock to explore the house for yourself, go wherever you want to, revisit any area. And up here, we do have something that you can touch. That little box underneath the bed are full of trigger objects. Those have been donated by staff members and various investigation teams. Children like to play. They just want to be your new best friend. These are toys, these are balls, these are dolls, stuffed animals, things that light up, things that make noise. If you want to come and see if you can have any interest. So the most active room in my personal opinion, and I'm sure Jesse feels the same way. Jesse's had numerous experiences up here. And this is the room when he does his, if you guys watch the Brooksville Pit website or the Ghost Tour Facebook page, they do live streams just about every week, and everybody wants this room because it's always the most interesting. I've had my own interesting experiences up here, and we believe that most of the activity is tied to this trunk behind me. This is our 1890s theatrical or dresser style trunk. Unfortunately, we do not know who it belonged to or why they had it. We do know that this is not a poor man's trunk. You had to have a decent amount of money, or you were having a career that involved a lot of traveling. Theater performers would have had something like this. Street performers, vaudeville, magicians, traveling salesmen, medical or military commanders, medical doctors. If you needed to keep your entire life in a trunk, this was the trunk that you would want to have. And it also came with a lot of activity surrounding it. Some man had his... So creepy. So, we're going to go back downstairs. Now, you are, after the tour, allowed to explore wherever you want to. This is the walls, and Dr. Stringer had them installed basically to separate his household from his business. So because the staircase was on the back side and there's perfectly easy enough access to all of the rooms and the upstairs from that side of the house, he would close off those doors. Single item in this room has ties to the military and various wars. Right on that wall, like I was telling you about before, that's the replica of the flag that Dr. Stringer had, or Frank Saxon had carried during the war. We have some very interesting items in this case. We have gas masks from World War I.
Wow.
We have a grenade. Don't worry, it's not live. There's a rosary that somebody probably clutched the entire time they were away. That pack of cigarettes was probably the only stress relief that some of these young men ever had. Now, when I say young men, I use the term very loosely. Back in World War I and before, you were considered a young man, sometimes at age 15, 12, even younger. If something had happened, you needed to step up and become the head of the household. You know, young boys did this, and they went off to war because they thought they were doing the right thing, fighting for their homes, their countries, their families. And they went off to war and saw these horrible, terrible things around them that they were unprepared to see. And unfortunately, a lot of them never made it back.
He's gone.
All right, guys, we're doing our self-tour right now. We just got done. We have some devices in our hand. It's kind of single flight through.
I want to go to the third floor.
We going to the third floor?
I want to put this down. Oh, look. Right here, Horacio. It's right around the bed. We are done with the May Stringer house. And all I can say, we have some interesting stories. We had some pretty creepy things happen. It's worth it. Guys, it's only $20. And what you think?
Great.
Where are you?
Enjoy it.
There you are.
We'll come again.
What'd you think? I would come again. Where are you? There you are.
I'm good. It was great. It's cold.
And it's cold. I'm excited. We're gonna do a story time.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a story time like we did the last time, and all three of us will be there so we can tell all our point of views. I'm gonna set that one up real soon, but it was so much fun. It's way worth it.